and welcome to our daily roundup of the latest action from the Africa Cup of Nations. Egypt booked their spot in the last 16 with a 1-0 win against Sudan, while Nigeria continue to soar with 3 wins out of 3. The Super Eagles beat Guinea-Bissau 2-0, making them the only team in the competition to win all 3 group games. With 8 changes, Nigeria had a slow start. Sadiq opened the scoring shortly after the break before captain William Troost-Ekong sealed the win with a tap-in. That result brings Guinea-Bissau's dreams of qualifications to an end. Meanwhile, Nigeria had already topped Group D and had been dealt an advantage there, as they will be playing their round of 16 clash in Garoua, where they have played all of their games so far. We had been expected to crossing to Simon Harding and Yaoundé, but we will be coming to him later in the show. Also in Group D, Egypt secured qualification after edging past Sudan 1-0. They finish in second place in the standings on 6 points and will face the winners of Group E in their last round game of 16. We hopefully will be coming to Simon later on in the show for more on those results. But let's take a quick look at who has qualified for the last 16 and the fixtures for the first round of the knockout stages so far. Burkina Faso will be facing Gabon, while Guinea will be playing the runners-up in Group F. The hosts, Cameroon, will face a third-best team. Sadio Mane's side, Senegal, will be taking on Cape Verde, who secured qualification this evening, thanks to the other results. Malawi, meanwhile, have also clinched a spot as a third-best placed team and will be facing Morocco. Nigeria will be facing a third best placed team. Egypt will also be facing the winners of Group E. I believe we can now cross over to Simon Harding in Yaoundé. More for those the first result from this evening, which was Nigeria, who have soared through to the group stages. They had obviously already qualified before their game this evening. Simon, Nigeria continuing to go from strength to strength.
Nigeria continuing from going from strength to strength. Selena, you're absolutely right. And Nigeria also the only team to qualify from the group stages with maximum points, 3 victories under their belts. We said after their first game against Egypt that the Super Eagles had been the most impressive side here in Cameroon. Well, they have continued in that vein, swatting aside their opposition. Another comfortable victory for the Super Eagles, 2-0 against Guinea-Bissau. Omar Sadiq with the first goal and Ekong with the second in the second half. And I think that's also significant, Selena, that they scored in the second half, because they could have easily sat back and let the game play out like we saw Cameroon do, like we saw Cape Verde do. But no, Nigeria were intent on getting those 3 points and of sending a strong signal to their opposition and would-be opposition in the latter stages. The Super Eagles, who were knocked out by the future winners, Algeria, in the semi-finals in Egypt in 2019. Well, it seems that this time around the Super Eagles are here and they do mean business.
Indeed, it definitely looks like they're the ones to beat as things stand. Simon, as I mentioned just earlier, Egypt are through in second place in that group. It looks like a pretty comfortable group campaign for them so far, despite another tight scoreline.
Yes, but an underwhelming campaign, it must be said, by the Pharaohs, Selena, because they have, if truth be told, underperformed in most of their games, including in their victory against Sudan, which I'll get to in just a minute. But of course, Egypt were blown off the park by Nigeria in their opening game. 1-0 was a flattering scoreline for the Pharaohs. And then in the second match, a Salah goal, enough to sink Guinea-Bissau. But you still had the feeling that there was more to offer. Now, in the game against Sudan, just a few hours ago here at the Ijo Stadium, Egypt actually played very well, and the one player that you wouldn't have expected to be under par, Mohamed Salah, well, was just that. But the transitions of the Egyptian team were much more fluid. They hit their markers. Defensively, they were solid, and importantly for them, they come away with a clean sheet. And I think that's the biggest positive to take away for this Egypt side, is that they've played 3 games, they've conceded only 1 goal, kept 2 clean sheets. The downside, of course, is that they've only scored twice, one in each game, and that is going to be a concern because when Egypt come up against better opposition, and as you just mentioned, they are going to be playing the top team in Group E, so that could be Algeria, that could be Ivory Coast, that could be Equatorial Guinea. These are all teams that have shown that they can play with spirit, with guts, and with a lot of bravery, and they're going to have to be able to provide more attacking threat. Otherwise, it could be a scenario like against Nigeria where they were pegged back, and then eventually conceded a goal.
Indeed, still lots to be looking forward to. Simon Harding for us there. We'll be back to you later on in this evening's show. We're now going to take a quick look forward to Thursday when the last group games will be played to conclude the groups in Group E and F. It's crunch time for AFCON holders Algeria, who are on the brink of crashing out of the competition. The Desert Foxes must win their final group game against the Ivory Coast to stand any chance of reaching the last 16. They're currently sitting in bottom place in Group E with just 1 point after a shock 1-0 defeat against Equatorial Guinea, which ended their 35-match unbeaten record. The Ivory Coast, meanwhile, are top of the standings with 4 points. It's been a disappointing tournament overall for Jamal Belmadi's side, who started their campaign with a goalless draw against Sierra Leone. Captain Riyad Mahrez says he wants the team to do its talking on the pitch.
We are ready, we are prepared to give our best. We are very motivated. We have all our country behind us with a lot of support. So I think everyone all the lights are green and everything is on our side to make the best game possible. I think we deserve to go through and to keep going, but we have to show it on the pitch.
And another team hoping to secure a spot in the last 16 is Mali, currently second place in their Group F on 4 points ahead of their last game against bottom place Mauritania. They're in a good position to qualify, though their young and ambitious squad have already set their sights further afield. Our team on the ground, James Vecina, Cedric Ferreira, Ellen Gainsford, together with Laurent Kanokiko, have this report.
Aujourd'hui, je veux voir une équipe qui joue ensemble, solidaire, courageuse, valeureuse.
It's a daunting test, but Captain Amari Traoré and his team are determined they're up to the challenge as they aim to surpass their forefathers, who for the first time reached a final at the Africa Cup of Nations 50 years ago.
We have
a common goal. We're all working towards it. We have the same target. We've got to know each other well, and that's what makes us strong.
Today, it's a new generation of players that's hoping this will be the year they'll be crowned champions. 22-year-old Ibrahima Kone has converted 2 penalties so far. Moussa Dienopo has shone on the Eagles' left wing, while Yves Bissouma has made a long-awaited return to the squads. And after shocking Tunisia and equalising with the Gambia, this combination has delivered, as Mali now face bottom-placed Mauritania for a spot in the round of 16.
We often call each other dad, brother. Our bond grows stronger every game, and even more with the results.
Mali currently sits second in Group F, and should they manage to bag top spot this Friday, it could put them on to a flying start in the knockout round to come. This as their long-lasting attempt for a trophy continues here at the Africa Cup of Nations.
James Vecina for us there, along with the rest of our team on the ground in Cameroon. And as we just touched on there, it's an exciting day ahead as the group stage comes to a close tomorrow. In Group F's other match, the Gambia will go head-to-head with Tunisia. Tunisia have been dealt a big blow as they reported 12 players that have tested positive for COVID this evening. Meanwhile, there's a big game in Group E as Sierra Leone take on Equatorial Guinea, both in the standings for a place in the last 16. Both sides are separated by just a point, so the game has all the markings of a hot contest, as a win would guarantee either team qualification. But of course, the showpiece everyone will be keeping their eyes on tomorrow is that crunch game between Algeria and the Ivory Coast. Let's cross back to our sports editor, Simon Harding, for more. Simon, the holders Algeria at a real risk of crashing out tomorrow, and after 2 disappointing performances, their last opponents are their toughest ones yet.
Yes, and that's why there's a lot of concern around this Algerian team, because they haven't shown anything so far in this tournament. And I find it surprising that Riyad Mahrez says that his team deserved to go through, because they haven't shown anything that deserves them to go through as of yet, of course. And we have to stress as of yet, because this Algerian team has plenty of pride. They have plenty of talent, and it just takes one game for them to hit their stride. And perhaps they are going to be able to do that against, as you quite rightly mentioned, the toughest opposition they are going to be facing in the Ivory Coast. The daunting aspect for Jamel Belmadi and the Desert Foxes is that they haven't scored yet, which is so surprising considering, as you mentioned, that winning run of 34, that undefeated run of 35 games which came to an end, the manner in which they won the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, and to be here at this stage without scoring a goal and with so many question marks in their game, the lack of pace, the lack of intensity, the lack when it comes to converting chances, so much waste in front of goal by some of their strikers, Feghouli, Baghdad Bouneja. It has been very complicated for them. And of course, on the flip side of this, you have an Ivory Coast side who drew 2-2 with Sierra Leone, who looked very disappointed, very angry with themselves after the game. We were there, and who will want to cement that top place in the group. Now, of course, there is also the element now that finishing second or third will avoid a tie with Egypt. So is that going to play in the match and the way that the match is approached? The reality for Algeria is that they're going to have to win, and if they go out, it is going to be a cataclysmic upset that the Algerians, defending champions and overwhelming favourites to win the tournament once again, don't make it through at least to the knockout stages.
Indeed, perhaps another surprise on the cards in an already unpredictable tournament, to say the least. That brings us to the end of our show for this evening on the Africa Cup of Nations. We'll be back with all the latest on Thursday evening and at the end of the group stage at around 11:40 p.m. local time in Yaoundé and Paris. Until then, stay tuned for more news here on France 24.